Hi, I'm Korey Staley with the Center of Personal Protection and Safety. If you're trying to launch a workplace violence program but are struggling to get buy-in from your team or leadership, you're not alone. Here's a few tips on how to get things moving. Why does buy-in matter? Well, buy-in's a game changer. Without it, you're just checking a compliance box. But with it, you're building a culture where people know how to prevent violence before it ever happens. So start with the team. Whether you're trying to get support from frontline staff or the C-suite, the process starts the same way. By getting a genuine understanding of the threats your teams are facing. Don't assume that you know what their concerns are. People will support what they help to build. If you want commitment, invite them into the conversation. Send out a questionnaire or even have a safety town hall meeting so that you can get firsthand what it is their concerns are. Or even start by walking the floor and having the conversations with them. Ask them questions to find out what it is that they're dealing with on a daily basis. Maybe it's a hostile customer, or maybe they're having some conflict among another employee or even a vendor. Maybe it could just be a lack of streetlights in the parking lot. Find out what their concerns are so that they feel represented in the process. Your frontline staff and managers know the friction points better than anyone. When you listen and show their voice matters, that's when the buy-in happens. Safety policies shouldn't be handed down as if they're commandments. They should be built by the people that live them daily. So how do you get buy-in from the leadership? Well, you bring the frontline concerns to the table. You start to close that gap. And that gap between those doing the work and those making the decisions is exactly where the risk lives. If executives don't know what's really happening on the ground, they're flying blind. And your policy is just words on a paper. Organizations with weak prevention programs see 2 to 3 times higher turnover and lower productivity. Why? Because people don't feel safe. And no one's doing anything about it. And it's not just bad for morale, it's bad for business. So here's a final thought. You can't wait for an incident to act, because by then the damage is already done. Violence, or even the threat of it, can derail operations, destroy trust, and leave everyone asking, why weren't we ready? And it starts with listening, closing the gap, and making sure everyone from the front desk to the boardroom has a role in keeping the workplace safe. So if you want to learn more about building an effective violence prevention program, or how to get more influence and buy-in with the organization, feel free to reach out. Remember, violent threats will continue to evolve, so should your preparation.